One of the things that I did when I decided to start my law firm, I had conversations with friends. And I said, hey, what do you think about me starting a law firm? I had friends that said, oh, I don't think that's a good idea. I think that it's best that you start with another firm first before starting your own practice. Huge mistake. I said, that's never been my dream though. I wanted to start my own law practice, which would house many Black attorneys, and I want to do it in my community. Listen, you know, the Bible says, write the vision, make it plain. Hello everyone, my name is Shaunette Stokes and I am a business and trademark attorney that specializes in educating entrepreneurs on how to navigate the legal landscape of running a business. This is my very first YouTube video. I wanted to hop on and talk about my entrepreneurial journey because that's exactly what this channel is about. On this channel, I will discuss topics such as trademark laws, copyright laws, and other laws that are relevant to the entrepreneur. I'll also discuss personal things such as my journey, like this conversation today. I want you all to know that just like you, I am an entrepreneur and I've had my own journey and it has not been easy, but I'm pretty sure the information and my story will resonate with many of you. So let's get started. We're gonna have to rewind back to 2012 where I was literally in law school in class and I decided that I wanted to pick the camera back up. Prior to law school, I had dabbled into photography. I was going around and asking my friends, hey, can I shoot you so that I can practice my photography skills? And in doing that, I developed over time my style of photography. I actually really enjoyed it. It wasn't until in undergrad, my camera broke on me and I decided to just put it down and just step away from photography for a bit. Fast forward to law school and I was in class and I said, you know what? I want to start my photography company. I really was very much so into photography at the time and still am. I loved photography then and now. And I wanted to actually start running a business, making money from my skill. So I purchased a camera. As soon as I got my camera, I started telling my friends, just like I did in undergrad, I asked, hey, let me shoot you, let me get my skills up because of course I can't sell my services if I don't have a portfolio and one, I can't show that I can actually shoot photography. A lot of my friends volunteered to get in front of my camera and my images were amazing. And from that, I decided to start marketing myself as a photographer in law school. I decided to keep both ventures separate. And in doing that, I was able to now develop this media portion of my law firm. And I am so grateful because now I can take my photography skills and implement them into educating entrepreneurs about how to navigate the different nuances of the law while you're running a business. After I had built my portfolio, I got my friends to give me their testimonials. I started to market my business. I was marketing in 2 different cities because I am originally from Tampa, Florida, but at the time living in Durham, North Carolina. I attended North Carolina Central School of Law. Every weekend, I was shooting portraits for my classmates. And listen, your girl was booked and busy, okay? It was different headshot images, graduation photos. I even shot a fitness shoot for a law school classmate. In law school, we didn't just have the desire to be attorneys. We really had other interests and we were able to really hone in and cultivate that in those moments. We had time, especially towards the end of our law school journey. What I did as I was building this brand and building this business, I started to, of course, take the lessons that I learned, scheduling. How do I schedule with clients? How do I create a booking system for my clients to navigate signing on as a client? And also, how do I have a customer relations platform? What tools am I going to use so that my clients can see their images after we've done the photo shoot. So there were different tools that I actually had to learn during this phase of my life, which actually helped me into becoming and developing my second brand, which is Stokes Law Group. And that is my law firm. I am the managing partner of Stokes Law Group, where we specialize in small business law, intellectual property, trademarks, copyrights, and we do civil matters such as lawsuits against other business owners. We do personal injury, and we also do estate planning and probate. So the entire basis of my law firm is all about legacy. How do we start and maintain a legacy? Going back to the start of my journey and how I was able to develop and branch out into other ventures with my lessons. Number one, as I was marketing my business, I started to develop a mailing list. I would offer different introductory rates for my services, or even offer special deals for my services. And I would leverage those deals by allowing them to sign up for my mailing list. After I graduated law school, I moved to Tampa. During this transition time, I was having to redevelop my mailing list. I was having to find different locations because when I was in Durham, I had settled my favorite locations to shoot at. I had a set client base. And while I was often coming home during the breaks, I still did not build a strong customer base in Tampa, Florida. The style and the aesthetic of photography is so different from North Carolina to Florida. It is stark contrast. I am a natural light photographer, and I rely heavily on the environment. So in Florida, we have palm trees, we have beaches, we have your standard, typical Florida aesthetic. Whereas with North Carolina, you had different places to go, such as the Tobacco Trail, the different parks that they have that you could take images at. And I'll put in some of my images from my photography journey so that you can see the differences between Florida and North Carolina and how it was a huge adjustment. Another thing that I had to adjust to was the pricing. I did not go up on my prices from North Carolina to Florida. When I was in North Carolina, I would tell my fees to my clients and they would not balk at my prices at all. They had no issues with any of my pricing. And when I chose that same exact pricing model and adopted it, trying to educate the client of the importance of photography and how it's not just for social media, and also expressing to them that it's important that you memorialize your images in print. It was a different type of client base. You really had to educate the consumer, and that was fine to me. It took a bit more work because of this new environment that I've moved into, and also the adjustment to having to educate the client on why my pricing structure was the way that it was. I would offer special rates for different holidays, such as Mommy and Me sessions for Mother's Day. Then you have Valentine's Day specials, and I even did summer deals. So I took those marketing tactics, and that allowed me to redevelop my client base because, in all honesty, I was a new photographer in a new city. Prior to shooting, I was shooting friends and family when I came home. When I came home and moved home, that was when things changed, because now I'm expecting compensation for my services, whereas prior to, I was just coming to visit Tampa and just shooting friends and family because I had the time. So it was a huge adjustment to have to educate my clients about the need for photography, and not just on social media, but for print. Another lesson that I learned, social media marketing. And we all know that social media is a beast within itself. And I was actually able to grow my following. Right now, I don't shoot as much as I would like because my law firm has taken precedence in this entrepreneurial journey, but still something that I maintain and I use as a digital portfolio. And I learned so much about social media during that time that I'm able to have now more of an organized strategy when it comes to running my law firms. I like to say that with my photography company, I kind of got all the kinks out of entrepreneurship to actually pave the way for me running a smooth operation when it comes to my law firm. But don't get it twisted. This has some hiccups when running the law firm because it is different when you're running, well, these are two service-based businesses, but it's still different when you're running a law firm because you have a different type of consumer than you have with a photography client, especially at the beginning of my law firm journey. Going back to when I moved back home, we were able to redevelop a marketing strategy, lower my prices for certain individuals that needed to get photography, but did not have the budget. And during that, I was able to build my client base. One caveat during this time, I had passed the Florida bar in 2014, but Florida be tripping hard. So it took 9 months for them to give me a license. And that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day, because I could go on for days about the process of obtaining your law license. So during the transition period of me passing the bar and actually getting my license, which was 9 months, a very long time, almost a year, I decided to take on different projects so that I can get my mind off of the fact that the Florida bar was taking a long ass time. So I would do different shoots and do model calls so that I can build my portfolio, show the city of Tampa that I'm a real photographer and I know what I'm doing, and have fun with it, because during this time, it was very stressful for me. In July of 2014, I started my law practice. July 8th, to be exact. I launched my law firm and I have never looked back. Because the law firm took so much work to get started, I had to put my photography endeavors on the back burner because I had to structure my business in a way that allowed for me to do both. And quite honestly, it has taken about 10 years because we have redeveloped things in my firm and restructured in so many ways that still requires my attention, but I'm getting back into photography in a minute. In 2014, as soon as I got my law license, I started my practice. And one of the things that I did when I decided to start my law firm, I had conversations with friends. I was talking to friends and I said, hey, what do you think about me starting a law firm? Huge mistake. No, because you have so many people that, one, don't believe in themselves and that are paralyzed by fear. And when you ask other people whether or not you should take this leap, be mindful of who you're asking, because these people may very well project their limiting beliefs onto you. Jay-Z has a quote, and I'm going to look it up really quickly.
And a lot of people will try to put their fears on you. You can't do that. No, you can't do it. Right. You know what I'm saying? So they just projecting, they're putting things that they don't believe that they can do on you.
Going back to whether or not you should discuss your dreams with your friends and family. At that moment, I was not as confident in my dream as I needed to be. So I started talking to friends and saying, hey, what are your thoughts of me starting my practice right out of law school? And I had friends that said, oh, I don't think that's a good idea. I think that you need to get some experience under your belt. And I think that it's best that you start with another firm first before starting your own practice. And I said, that's never been my dream though. Listen, you know, the Bible says, write the vision, make it plain. You can adopt that lesson to all parts of your life. Right? You write down what you want to do in life and you execute it. And actually, I wrote down in high school and in college that I wanted to start my own law practice, which would house many Black attorneys. And I want to do it in my community. Why can't I do that? Why do I have to wait until tomorrow to do it? Thankfully, my faith was strong enough to plow through those conversations and not allow people to plant those seeds of doubts into my head, because I have seen fear paralyze people and I just didn't understand, because their limiting beliefs had nothing to do with me and I can't take it personal. I am actually grateful to have mentors in my life, because that's one thing that you should do in your journey is have a mentor. So in law school, I made the decision to start my practice. Of course, after law school, I'm having these conversations. I'm making the decision in law school, but still second guessing that decision after law school. After law school, I'm asking questions, but before I had already made the decision. I reached out to one of my professors because she has a very similar journey as I do. She started her practice right out of law school. So I asked her about it. I said, hey, how did you go about starting your practice right out of law school? Was it scary for you? Was it a hard task to do? Tell me. I took her out to lunch and we actually had a full discussion on how she started her practice and how I can navigate those same waters. Just straight away, she said, listen, you are given a license to practice law. As soon as you are given your driver's license, not your learner's permit, your driver's license, you're able to drive, right? Okay, so why wouldn't you, after being given a license to practice law, practice law? If you go work for somebody else you're practicing, so why can't you work for yourself? And I said, you got a point. And I took that as gas to propel me into when I had those conversations with those friends that, I got a license. I can practice now. What am I waiting for? And I did. So I started my practice right out of law school with my license. But I know you're like, what the heck? Sis, you started your practice, but did you have legal experience? Let me tell you what I did. So when I made the decision in law school that I wanted to be a solo practitioner, meaning have my own firm, I started to craft my education around that. And I mean all of my education. What I mean by that was I started to take different courses that will allow me to hone my skills prior to starting my practice. So I took different classes such as copyright, trademarks, and I even took clinics that allowed me to have clients in the Durham community, which was beautiful because I used the skills and even the resources that I had learned and had access to actually use that in my respective practice. I was allowed to learn so much about trademark law in that time frame that I was able to then use those same skills and education in my actual practice. Another thing that I did in law school was I was the president of a club. And one of the things that I was tasked to do was put on events for that club. We had a budget. We had 2 per year. And one of those events, I decided to have a event that was solely for those students that wanted to start their own law practice right out of law school. And we called different members of the community that had practiced right out of law school or just started their businesses. And we had them at a panel and we were able to pick their brains on how to start your business right out of law school and what tools and resources we needed to tap into now to actually propel our career. I know that sounds a bit self-serving, but in all honesty, it was. I wanted to tap into different workshops that I was interested in. And what better way to do it was to plan it yourself. So I did. And I called everybody that I knew that had a law firm. And I said, instead of me picking your brain, how about you come and talk to the entire class at North Carolina Central School of Law and tell us how you did it? Because it's not just me that wants to know. It's a good portion of our classmates that really want to know this information. Why not? It's a great speaking opportunity. So I used the information that I gained in law school to leverage starting my business. And when I eventually got my license and opened up my practice, I used those tools and also my relationships that I had already built in the Tampa community. A lot of my friends and family wanted to hire me right away as soon as I had my law license. But I would venture to say that they were confident in my skills because I was confident in my skills. I was extremely confident in what I could bring to the table as their attorney, even though I had very limited experience in those practice areas. Now, granted, I had experience, but not as much experience one would want when hiring an attorney. So I used a lot of my relationships in the Tampa community to build my practice and build my experience up. And also what I did was started to network with other members of the community, and I offered my services as a speaker. I would come into different facilities that were primarily focused towards entrepreneurs and speak to them about the different subjects in entrepreneurship as it pertains to the law. So I was able to build a platform as a speaker, an educator, and an attorney in the Tampa community, which showed that I was knowledgeable of the information that I was offering. And also I was able to build personal relationships with those people prior to hiring me, because they were able to see who I was prior to actually paying money for services that I'm offering. I'm not selling a service, I'm just educating them. And I actually built a passion for education, which goes into my next thing. I was given the opportunity to become a professor. Now, not only am I a photographer, an attorney, I'm a professor. So I would say that my primary focus is educating entrepreneurs. I truly have a heart for education, and now I have the opportunity to merge the three together with photography by filming this YouTube video, law by giving you my knowledge of entrepreneurship and all of the laws that you'll need to know to navigate entrepreneurship, and education, me actually knowing how to articulate and put things in layman's terms. When you learn how to explain things from a professor's standpoint and not from an attorney's point of view, it's easier to explain it in layman's terms as opposed to giving you this legalese that you don't even understand. So I get the opportunity on this YouTube channel to educate you, to share my journey, and you're gonna see different vlogs of me going to other entrepreneurs' businesses, having discussions with them. You'll see clips from my podcast with other entrepreneurs that are also sharing their journey on this page. So I welcome you. Please subscribe. You're going to get so much information about how to start a business the legal way. Now, let me preface this by saying I am not your attorney. So the information that you're getting from this page is not legal advice. It's just legal information. So grab your popcorn, go binge watch all of the videos that I have, and comment. Let me know what your thoughts are, and let me know what topics you would like for me to cover, because this is going to be a journey that we're going to take together, and I cannot wait. I'm so excited. That's it for now, guys. Bye.